And good morning, everyone. Today is the 13th of August, 13th of September, 2018. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. You know, the U.S. is Looney Tune. It's totally bass-ackward Looney Tune. And, I was preparing the show today. I don't do a lot of preparation because I have so many things going on anyway. It's easy to bring information out. But considering that the U.S. is Looney Tune and what I'm going to do today, I probably shouldn't have dressed conservatively like I am this morning. I should have dressed crazy. But it was kind of the last minute, spur of the moment type of decision because I'm really... and you'll see why in a few minutes. And I'll explain as I go, I guess, as I usually do. We elected Trump to drain the swamp, to stop the wars, to build the wall, get us back on a good financial footing, set us free of the New World Order, etc., etc. And I talked to my Republican insider last night. We were discussing this whole thing with the lawyers in the White House attorneys being reticent to declassify the information that Congress is asking for and the people are asking for. And, he said, well, Jay Sekulow says that it's going to happen. Jay's probably the best one in there out of all of them. But Flood, of course, is saying, that's his name, one of the other attorneys, is saying, oh, no, if we do this, it'll cause the people to lose faith in the institutions of the DOJ, the FBI, etc. Are you kidding me? It's going to cause us to lose faith? After all that's come out, after all we've seen, after all we've talked about, no, it's time for justice against those who claim to be the law enforcers in this country and who themselves are criminals. The other thing apparently is Flood was concerned that, this could be used, if you do this, then Mueller can look at it as a form of obstruction of justice. Well, two problems with that. I'm no attorney, but this is all bullshit, and I'm tired of the delay. First of all, you have to have a crime in order to obstruct it, and they've never said there was a crime, okay? So obstruction of justice is out. I'm tired of hearing the damn argument. Yeah, I'm always mad these days, aren't I? Well, it's because everything is so nuts. So you're going to see, I'm going to play along a little bit with that today. Well, that's the first thing. You got to have a crime in order to obstruct it. And I told my Republican insider, I said, look, if a police officer is investigating a crime and that police officer you find has just committed a crime doing whatever, acting upon that, arresting that officer for that crime is not obstructing justice in the case that he's investigating, even if it involves you. This is just out of control. I don't know where the hell Trump is getting these people, from Bolton all the way down to McMaster. I don't know what, draining the swamp, and I've talked about this for a long time, but it just is so damn counterproductive. The lawyers shouldn't be telling him why he can't do something. I know they're supposed to protect him. I understand that. They're running interference and all that. But they should be telling him how to get it done. And they're not. It's just... it's obvious that they're playing to the deep state and to those in both parties. This, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. Cernovich, I got to agree with Mike Cernovich. A few people don't like that, go away. But we're going to talk about Mike Cernovich today. He's the only damn guy out there who's making any sense. I support Trump's stated program. As I've said all along, I'm still concerned that his rhetoric doesn't meet what I see on the ground. And that's not just because the deep state is stopping him. Okay? It's not. The left-right paradigm, false presentation is a big part of the problem. And Mike Cernovich addresses that in a very interesting way, because the Republicans aren't what you think they are. Not even some of the new ones that we've put in there. They're in there to help the illegitimate deep state and shadow government to continue so that they can keep making their money, which will destroy everything in the end anyway, which nobody seems to care about, which is why I say this is Looney Tune. You know, it's like the guy that puts his gun to his head and the police officers are coming and he says, "You better stop or I'm going to shoot the guy." That's what these people are doing because they're going for short-term gains. And we all know it. But we want to believe somebody that gets out there and says that it's going to change. Has it? No. No, it hasn't. The U.S. is Looney Tune. It was absolutely necessary, as Representative Jordan has said and others, Joe DeGeneva, etc., that the FBI and the DOJ cannot be allowed to get away with this criminal conduct. To do so not only sends the wrong message to the people of this country about the two standards of justice, but it also gives a winking eye to those organizations to continue in their criminal behavior. As I told you when I testified against the Brigadier General, and the judge turned to me and said, "Lieutenant Potter, do not embarrass the government." And I say, I will embarrass the government, and so should Trump. And those damn lawyers of his, he needs to fire all of them except for Sekulow. It's time to embarrass the government for doing its wrongdoings. We can't, the people are going to lose trust in the institutions. Right. If Trump fails to declassify entirely the things that we've discussed and that people like Lou Dobbs and DeGeneva, Greg Jarrett, Jordan, etc. have discussed, if he fails to do that, what he's doing is he's saying it's okay to destroy the American people. To say that, we're going to protect a corrupt institution rather than make sure that justice is done. And it's turning his back on all of us. That's the way I look at it. If you don't like it, go away. I'm tired of this. We're still going after Syria. Why? I saw Pompeo the other day, and Jack Posobiec and Cernovich and some others have also commented on this. He talks about the sovereignty of Saudi Arabia over Yemen, and that the U.S. is supplying these weapons there that are killing like school kids on a school bus, right? Those types of things. However you feel about the war in Yemen and the Iranian-backed people and all that, the fact of the matter is that we support Saudi Arabia because they're sovereign over Yemen. Okay. And just like the people that I just mentioned, they said, by that same reasoning then, Assad is sovereign over Idlib. What the hell is this Looney Tune government about? If I were Trump, I may not be able to do anything about it, but I'm sure as hell going to point it out. And this is just out of control. To protect sources and methods is what we're hearing. Oh, the attorneys are also concerned about, and the intelligence community are concerned about that sources and methods will be revealed. You know what sources and methods they're talking about? The people that are criminals, the sources that have been doing this stuff and setting it up. They're worried about that. But they cover it with this national security fog. And the methods? Yeah, circular reasoning. You want to say this, but you can't say it yourself, so you go to this person over here, tell them in secret, who then report it to the newspapers or whomever, who then you find out from them as if you didn't know this was going on. You planted the seed, but it's gone around in a circle and it's come back to you, and you use that to get a FISA warrant. Sources and methods. Parallel construction, it's even worse than that. And the attorneys in the White House want to protect sources and methods. They don't want to, or they're worried about obstruction of justice when there's no crime to begin with. And they're worried about tainting our institutions. Unbelievable. Trump, you're either president of the United States or you're not, and no matter what you do, they're going to come after you. Take the gloves off, get the people that you can trust, and mow these suckers down. I'm going to play something. Like I said, I started this a little while ago. It's last minute, but I think it says a lot. Just for a couple seconds, I'll be right back. If I had told my friends and the people that care about me, and that number is dwindling by the day, but if I were to, well, it depends on who they are, of course. If I told them what my plans were this morning, they say, "Hey, Roy, don't do that. Don't ruin your reputation. Don't ruin your professionalism that you're showing everybody. Your vast experience and knowledge, etc., etc." But when you already have a useless reputation because people are so traditionalized and they're in a rut and they can't see the forest for the trees, and sometimes you can't see the trees for the forest. It really depends. The fact of the matter is that most Americans have been pointed in the wrong direction about what's right and wrong and all that anyway. And am I jumping on Americans today? Yeah, I am. Because I don't think you're going to show up for the midterms. And after all I've said about Trump, why should you, right? Because he's obviously fudging on some stuff. Even Ann Coulter, where's the wall? All right? Why are we still in Afghanistan? And I've heard all the excuses. Oh, he can't go against military-industrial complex. Look what they did to Kennedy when he tried to do that. I didn't say that I was going to do it. He did. Oh, well, he's found new things since he's been in office, things that only the president knows about. Bullshit. That's bullshit. It's a way to excuse behavior like Q's thing, disinfo is necessary. That way, if you lie, you could say, well, it's because we have to, cover our ass is really what it is. It's ridiculous. I just can't believe it. So I'm going to do some things today that I haven't done before. I'm going to throw some stuff out there that I'm concerned about, etc. But I wanted to do a few different things today. So that's what I'm going to do. Some good things, of course. The FTC says, Federal Trade Commission, says it's going to investigate the tech monopolies for antitrust violations. I don't think they get into First Amendment stuff. But that needs to be covered. Jeff Sessions says he is, but Jeff Sessions has said a lot of things. And he's gone after entirely the wrong things by and large. This would have been something he should have started right early on in his job. Because really it's almost too little too late at this point. It really is. Let me read a few things. Like I say, I'm using my phone to keep notes. I just, and like I said, this is not going to be the same. You can already tell. There's some other things coming that are going to be, people are going to say, wow, Roy's flipped. No, I'm just tired of the bullshit. If you can't seriously handle a problem, you got to get a little comedy. Because, otherwise, you got to laugh at yourself once in a while. I've seen things and I've been places that, I don't normally talk about. And a lot of people out there that are talking about those things are considered crazy. Well, okay, why don't I just join them? Because I'll tell you what, I was an eyewitness to some of this. Okay? And I mean some really crazy stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about it today. Number one, the mysterious closing of the observatory in New Mexico. The FBI runs in there and closes it. Now, You get the people to talk about, they discovered aliens or, whatever. I don't know the reason. The FBI is never going to tell you anything because they're liars and deceivers, just as we saw in the Boston bombing, World Trade Center 93, World Trade Center 2001, Ruby Ridge, Waco, Las Vegas, etc., etc. Even the coup against Trump. You're going to believe anything these people tell you? You're going to believe that they're going to open up and be honest about anything? No. However, I think one of the possibilities is that they're concerned that there are some foreign actors that are obtaining information from that site electronically, that they're probably worried about. That's probably true. I don't know what it is, but in my estimation, the FBI has done very, very few things to secure the safety and security of the American people. It's about itself. Just like going in and getting all of Tesla's data. When Tesla died, the FBI ran in there and got that. Did you know that? Trump's talked about it. Is it for the people of the United States, the government, by and for the people? No, it's because the institution, they have loyalty to their institution, not to the Constitution, not to you. There's information out now that Hillary Clinton, actually has the keys to the FBI, their technical system. And that's why they don't go after her, that she or her cronies can change that entire thing. I've heard Michael McKibben talk about that. Okay? And others, not just him. From the U.S. Patent Office, they grab these things. Information is power, and the ability to control information is almost, that puts you not just at a disadvantage. You become defeated, and they know that. So I just bring that up because I thought it was interesting. It's probably nothing to do with aliens, okay? It's probably not. Sunspots, are we going to have a big storm that's going to come to the Earth? Well, there are other places despite that would be able to give us that information. So I don't think it's that. I think it's probably something else to do with a communication facility. I want to get back on Yemen and Syria for just a few minutes. Will Chamberlain, I don't know if a few people know who he is. He's a lawyer. He's in D.C. He's very much involved with the MAGA movement, etc. And I'm going to quote you what Secretary Pompeo said in a tweet. He says, "Ending the conflict in Yemen is a national security priority. The United States will continue to work with the Saudi-led coalition to maintain support for the UN's special envoy." Interesting. And then Will Chamberlain says this: "Saudi Arabia is the rightful sovereign of Yemen, but Assad is not the rightful sovereign of Idlib province." We're Looney Tunes. It's not just about national security. It's not just about American interests. It's about lying to the American people so that they can lie in their own pockets. And it's still going on underneath Trump. Mike Cernovich. Christians are free to worship under Assad. The rebels, Al-Qaeda, etc., murder Christians. This isn't even debatable. What side are we on? We're going to go out and destroy ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and now we're supporting them? Well, this has always been going on, even it started years ago. But I thought that this was all stopping now. Oh, Trump has his hands tied? There are some things you just got to stand up for and do. Yes, I'm losing patience. Because it's like this whole thing with the FTC and Sessions going after the tech giants. It's too damn little too late. You think they're going to have an antitrust violation on these people before the elections? And even if they did, it would still be too late. Procrastination and bullshit because they didn't have their ducks in order. And you know who I'm talking about. I love Trump. I love what he's trying to do. I love what he says he stands for. But no, He ought to fire every one of those lawyers in there. They've got to start telling him how to get things done, not that he can't do it because of whatever reason. Another thing that, on the lighter side, I thought this was really good. I got a real kick out of this. And these kind of things are necessary every once in a while, and I certainly believe it's necessary in this case. Mike Cernovich retweeted something from a lady by the name of Bridget Fatassi, I think is her name. She's writing for, I guess it's called Medium. This is great. It's almost time to get to this stuff because all the rest of it is almost not making any sense whatsoever. And this is what it is by this Ms. Fatassi lady. A guide to sober dating. Now this is Cernovich stating this in a tweet. A guide to sober dating and of course sober sex. Well, I guess she actually said that too. And it is from MEL magazine. Mel magazine from this lady Bridget Fatassi. You know what? That's probably the most intelligent, most informational thing I've heard, informative thing I've heard in a long time. It certainly makes more sense than the shit going on in D.C. I was happy to see that. Also, Lee Stranahan retweeted something from a Caitlin Johnstone. Early on here, I said that decentralization in the conservative movement, vets, Second Amendment supporters, etc., Christians, etc. Decentralization is the way to go because if you're centralized, you're an easier target. Yeah, when you're separated, they can pick you off one by one, but that would take a lot of work because there'd be a lot of us, right? Well, anyway, I talked about the importance of decentralization, and I was happy to read this. Lee Stranahan retweeted this. This is from a Caitlin Johnstone, and this is what she says. Or I guess it's a lady. Decentralization is where the real revolution is happening. The more we cluster together in groups, in factions, in media conglomerates, the easier we are to co-opt, to herd, to censor. We are much stronger attacking the propaganda matrix as clear-eyed, independent individuals. With a few exceptions, I have to wholeheartedly agree. And I'm glad that Caitlin brought that out and that Lee Stranahan retweeted it. No broadcast is complete without something about Q. A Jane Gale retweeted something about the 40,000 plus, now it's 50,000 plus sealed indictments. I can't give you this information. I'm sorry. It's not something that I can pass along from... It says it's on reddit.com that it's called debunking the 40,000, 50,000 supposed sealed indictments. I can't do that for you. I can just tell you that it's there. It's because there are a lot of reasons because of the technical things here. But several of us have been saying for some time that what Q and their followers were doing were adding up all of the sealed indictments every month, not subtracting the ones that weren't closed, including additional information to do with a case where they seal also, the warrant or the evidence or whatever. There are not 50,000, and so this person did an entire study on that. And it says, good link to share with Q fans who have been strung along by the deliberately misleading Pacer posts. Not that the Pacer posts are misleading, but the interpretation of them by the QAnon crowd. Note that to get a large number, set no filters. So in other words, they don't set filters for just 2018, for instance. Or criminal. That would be another thing. Criminal filters. They take them all. They take everything. Let me read that again. Note that to get the large number, they set no filters and they keep adding on without subtracting ones that have been resolved. Q fans can research it for themselves. You can go to reddit.com and it's called Debunking the Claims, 40,000 Sealed Indictments. I wish I could give you more information, but anybody who's been looking at this for some time knows that that's true. Several people have talked about it. I think even Lee Stranahan talked about it at one point. Another thing that's come up, Hillary Clinton and Google created a server to hide classified Benghazi emails from Congress and the FBI. Here we go again. What was my FBI corruption series about? The FBI never probed it. Why? I just told you, because Clinton has control of the FBI technical keys. She can threaten anybody she wants, including the director of the FBI, including the Attorney General. And nobody stops this witch, this consort of Satan. Roosevelt Media. I'm sure you're listening, Roosevelt. At Roosevelt 2017, I have to say this. He made a meme. I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Trump's been pointing at the MSM, talking about how bad they are. He also said, hey, the intelligence services, their bad information is what's caused so many problems over the last 2-3 decades. The misinformation on what wars we should get involved in and all of that, right? He was critical at first. Well, Roosevelt says it really good here. He says, if we have learned anything from QAnon, tongue-in-cheek, the last source of truth are former intelligence personnel. Very true. So the very people that we are warning against, that we have shown have put us in such a bad situation, the Q crowd has been very quick to say that intelligence people are telling them what the truth is. And we know they're the good guys. How do you know they're the good guys? You don't even know who they are. At least that's what you say. Unless they're your own people, as many of us have come to suspect. People like Pamphlet Anon and Tracy Beans, who supposedly is out of it, but probably isn't. Jordan Sather, Praying Medic, etc., etc. Crazy stuff going on. And then back on that situation with YVA and report for the president and all that baloney as well. Thomas Drake came out, okay, and said, I don't know if you can see this. Let me back it up a little bit, maybe get a little closer. Nah, you can't. He says, brought to my attention that Joint Task Force MAGA.com, those are the people that have this report for the president that YVA and Tracy Beans were pushing, website has me prominently listed as part of their team. In caps, false. I can categorically state I'm not on their team, am not part of JTF MAGA, was never contacted by them, and do not support them. Leaves major questions about their integrity. Benny didn't even know what it was about when he was interviewed by YVA. He found out that he had been on this list too. And like I told you, he's not an operative. He's a mathematician. So he's probably very upset about that now too, that they used him. Nothing wrong with interviewing Benny, but what they were trying to do is manipulate the audience into believing that Benny was supporting what they were doing. And Thomas Drake, I think, proves that that's not the case. Also, Kevin Shipp came out and said the same thing. It's okay, we don't need to start having these internecine battles and keep fighting it, but I got to admit that there are people out there that are saying, you know what, but there's a problem. There's too much deception, and we're getting off the MAGA stuff, and I agree. By these internecine fights. But in Congress, in the Continental Congress, when they were meeting and coming up with the Constitution, the debates were horrendous. There were accusations thrown about people being Tories, much like we're doing now with, you're with the deep state, you're actually with the CIA, or you're a traitor. Those kinds of arguments are going to happen. But we're foolish if we continue to go down that road. I only bring it up because I was involved with so much of this stuff from the beginning. Okay, let's see what else we need to talk about here. I think we've done that. Let's talk about Cernovich. This was a good one. Nah, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. One of the things that Cernovich is really upset about is the fact that the Republican and super PACs, etc., are doing nothing to help Trump supporters who are being attacked. Trump has never brought his supporters, his real supporters, into his administration. He's relied on the deep staters to tell him who to bring in, and it's just caused one problem after another. And I know my friend and Republican friend in California, I know he came in as a loner and he needed people like maybe Newt Gingrich or Giuliani to help him up front. I realize all that, but that doesn't change the fact that he's stoked his administration with people that wanted him to destroy him. Can God protect him? Yeah, what is that? What is that scripture? No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. I hope so, but it doesn't help when you keep shooting yourself in the foot either. So this is what Cernovich says. Why is it that nobody in the Trump campaign, certainly the Republicans, aren't going to do it? Because they're two-faced liars and bastards anyway, and other things. But why didn't Trump assign some people to go out and help people who've been attacked by Antifa? Help pay their medical bills or whatever. Something from these PACs to give some support to the people that have stood up for Trump and been attacked, maligned, injured, their First Amendment cut off, and that should have been taken care of months ago, maybe a year ago. This is what Cernovich says. Mike, I like you. Yeah. A lot of guys are alpha males, and do things that people don't like. But you know what? I do like you. Okay. Not that means anything to you. You probably never even see this, but closed-minded people who can't understand this type of thing. He's talked about a lot of things, male and female relationships, and a lot of things, but. A lot of prudish, puritanical Christian traditionalists can't handle the truth. They want to live in a little bubble of their own virtue. This is what Cernovich says. I put up $1,000 of my own money for information leading to an arrest. No super PAC did it. No Republican did it, where they get money. Trump certainly didn't do it. Trump hasn't even come to any real defense of his supporters. He's saying now, conservatives are being attacked by the tech giants. Oh, and yeah, Antifa's attacked a few of us, but what has he done? Again, from Cernovich, I put up $1,000 of my own money for information leading to an arrest. They found the guy and he went to jail. I paid the whistleblower. Where was the super PAC? No one from Trump world or those super PACs reached out to help him. Real talk. I'm done pretending they care. Because actions speak louder than words. The rhetoric is not meeting the ground. And I agree with Cernovich. And then he says this. There's no wall. She's not locked up. But Flynn got fired and sent to the wolves. And Saudi Arabia sold weapons of murder. Actually, Saudi Arabia got weapons of murder and they're using them. And then he says, I give zero FUCKs about Republicans losing the House. I understand his frustration. I don't want to see that happen. But Republicans and Democrats, by and large, there's no difference between them, and we're still in the bad situation because, as I say it again, Trump is not acting against the leftist Marxists that have entered our government. So what's going to happen is if he doesn't, all of this is for nothing, and the United States is going to go into darkness. I'm just telling you the way it is. Mike Cernovich again, and he's making a good point. If he knows anything, he knows a lot about this. And this kind of goes along with what Jack Posobiec said the other day, and I told you about his Periscope where he said things aren't looking good. They're starting to realize this coup is bad. And I know, that's true. Because when you're getting shot at, I'm going to tell you something about tactics, okay? When you're getting shot at on the battlefield, and if you don't return fire and have covering fire to maneuver, fire and maneuver, you're going to lose. You can't just sit there and passively take the shots and turn the other cheek. You can't do it, not in a real war. And Trump's in a war. He's not in politics. Mike Cernovich, quote, Trump won by 70,000 votes in specific areas. It wasn't some landslide. Now, I don't know that if he's taking into consideration the illegal votes that Clinton, supported, because there were what we figure were somewhere around 3 to 6 million of those, something like that, which were totally illegal, and we know, okay? But just listen to what he says. And those 9 million two-time Obama voters who went for Trump, this is a good point, aren't coming out in November to make sure that Republicans keep the House. I deal in the real world of reality, not boomer red wave fantasies. We're in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. I agree with Mike 100%. I do. Okay, now back a little while ago, I was noticing on my, and like I say, I don't read my comments very often, but sometimes people see them and send me information. And I saw this, and so I'm going to play this, okay? About 2 years ago, I made this little comedy skit. And I sent it out to friends, and I said, I want to put this on the web. What do you think I should or should I? And some of them said, yeah, it's funny. Go ahead and do it. It shows you have a good sense of humor. You can laugh at yourself. And others said, no, Roy, don't do that. You got to be professional. Don't do that. It would really disappoint me, and I don't think you should. Anyway, and I don't care. Okay, so I'm going to play this for you. But I saw this comment on my YouTube channel, where they changed it from the Potter Expositor to the Potter Suppositor. Actually, I almost called my channel that, the Potter Suppositor, because what I'm saying is, we need to loosen the bowels of DC. But I'm going to play this for you, little tongue-in-cheek thing. I hope you enjoy it, and then I'll be right back. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's February 31st, 2071. And after all of these years, I can finally tell you, I can give you the report about why the Earth has had so many problems in its climate. We thought it was global warming, and then we thought it was global cooling, and then we thought it might be a virus that came in from an asteroid or a meteor, or maybe some aliens from a world that circles a distant star called Alpha Centauri. But ladies and gentlemen, the mutations that we've experienced, one of which you're witnessing here, all of the talking heads that we used to see on television were mutants. They really were. They were mutants. All talking heads are mutants. And it was because of the radioactivity from Fukushima and Chernobyl and all of those other leaks around the world. Look at this. The mutations sometimes take a long time, as this one did. But theirs was practically overnight, almost at the same time. So, talking to you from February 31st, 2071, you now know the real reason for the mutants, known as the talking heads, in the 20th and 21st centuries. And not only Fukushima and the radiation, but also because the libtards of that time, all of the leftists who started to say that there was no sex, but there really was, but there were only 2 sexes, and then all of a sudden there were like 80 sexes, and so because that was in our brains and the radiation mutated us, the nature that was left just took care of it, and now this is all we have. There is no sex. There's nothing. We're just talking heads now. Oh, and I'm just starting. The U.S. is a Looney Tune place. What's true is denied. What's false is promoted. There's political correctness out there trying to rip the male-female relationship apart in various ways, destroy the concept of personal liberty, and to make fun of things that are serious that science has covered up. If you've ever studied the Smithsonian Institute and what they have done, and what their real purpose was back, and even today, but back when it first started, was to cover up things that didn't go along with the scientific accepted narratives. So, at the risk of ruining my already useless reputation, restless reputation as well, I'm going to tell you some things that I personally witnessed. And if you want to say, I knew Roy was crazy, I'm never listening to him again, you think I care? Because if you close your mind to somebody who is trying to tell you what they have seen and under what circumstances, just because it doesn't go along with your politically correct understandings or goes against scientific agreements. It's like the Rosetta Stone, you know, when they all agreed that Ptolemaic dynasty Egyptian is the same as First Dynasty Egyptian, and that's absurd. So you get all this gobbledygook in these translations of early Egyptian. But at any rate, they agree about things. And if you go outside of the agreements, then they make fun of you. They don't allow you to print your stuff in your studies in scientific journals. Now, it's very true that you need to have repeatable results for the scientific method. I heard Uni talking about this last night, Uni Rock, and he's absolutely right. But don't think, Uni, that there isn't a political agenda in the scientific community, because there is. It is their religion. Okay, you have to understand that. A lot of them, it is their religion. And they don't want it attacked. Just like the FBI, people are more concerned about the institution of the FBI than they are about the Constitution and about the United States of America and the Constitutional Republic and the American people. It's the same kind of thing that exists there. Okay, so sometimes things that are true get covered up. The real truth about Sumer, for instance, isn't discussed. We got a Zecharia Sitchin out there who printed a book, about Planet X and all that stuff, to lead people down the wrong path again. And I could go on and on and on. But despite the fact that some things fly in the face of what's commonly accepted, they still happen. And so I'm going to tell you a few things. Go away if you want to. Like I said, I could hang this thing up today and it wouldn't hurt my feelings one little bit. Not one bit. So do as you will. When I was in junior high school, and I think I've told this part of the story before. When I was in junior high school, I was very much into the UFO studies, that kind of thing. My mom worked at Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, part of NASA. And she saw how interested I was in this. I mean, I was out, using my telescope, taking, star pictures and, maps and all kinds of things, looking for things floating around in space. You know how it is. Anyway, one day she told me, she says, Roy, I've got a special guest coming for dinner and I think you'll enjoy it. And I said, okay. Well, who it was an astrophysicist from Goddard Space Flight Center. We had dinner, very nice, and here I am. He told me this information because who's going to believe, I was probably 12, 13, 14 at the most at the time. So, he just figured, well, I'll tell him. So we go into my bedroom where I have this huge desk. I had a huge desk because I had all my school books on it. I was into all sorts of stuff. My desk is probably I mean, it rivaled anything in the White House is what I would say it was. Not that nice, but certainly that big. And we sat down there, and I showed him what I had, and he goes, yeah, that's pretty good, that's pretty good. And finally, to make a long story short, he tells me, well, I just want you to know that it's real. We do know that there are extraterrestrials and that they are here. Not everything that is seen in the skies is ours. Some of it is because of back engineering. Yeah, reverse engineering. Some of it is. Or possibly, now he didn't tell me this, possibly that we have some of this information from these people, from these beings, whatever. However you want to look at that, that's what I was told by this astrophysicist from NASA. Some of the things, almost quoting him verbatim, some of the things that you see in the sky are not ours. Some of them. Okay. Along with that, some interesting things happened in my experience, and I'm going to talk about these now. Usually I've only talked to my kids about these things. You know, we gather around a reunion, and we turn the lights down real low, and I tell this story. But I think I'll just go ahead and do it now. And like I said, if people want to say, I've had enough of Potter, he's out of his mind, great! I think that's stupendously wonderful. I was at Fort Lewis, Washington in 1975 going through training, officer training. So I'm not an untrained observer. I'm not some kook out in the woods, redneck. Some people would probably disagree with that, but I'll just tell you the story and you decide for yourselves, okay? Like I said, I've kept this in the family. We know I have a few friends, but those types of people who are interested in this thing and don't try to attack you for telling somebody your experience. But I think it's time to just do this because the U.S. is a Looney Tune. I mean, we're watching what's going on in D.C. and how Trump is handling things and not handling things, and how Congress is acting and how Sessions is acting and the FBI. The whole thing is bullshit. Everything. So how can you deny, how can you say to me that what I'm going to tell you is not true when you're believing all that shit back there? Government's here to protect you. Government's here to help. The corporations are, for the good of the American worker. Whatever. So in 1975, I'm at Fort Lewis, Washington. I had to go to I think the chat's on. Yeah, it is. No, I don't believe in Bigfoot. That's a pejorative now. When people are going to tell you something that they've experienced, they use the Bigfoot thing and flying saucers and things like that to denigrate you, to disrespect you, to whatever. But then you find somebody like me who doesn't give a damn what you think. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, all right, as I understand it. And I don't care if you accept it or not. But I'm going to tell you that your government, with the Smithsonian Institute's help, have been keeping information from you on purpose because it goes against the evolutionary narrative that they want to push. I just said a few minutes ago that scientific method requires that things be repeatable. Guess which one of those scientific studies has never been able to be repeated and never will, but everybody agrees on it, and if you don't go along with the agreement, you're shunned? Evolution. They can't prove that worth a crap. It flies in the face of the second law of thermodynamics. But they don't want to talk about that because it's the accepted theory that they say is true science, and it is not. So laugh about it if you want. 1975, Fort Lewis, Washington. We had a long-range reconnaissance patrol training mission. They put us on helicopters and they flew us to Yakima training area. This is all up around the Mount Rainier area, okay? We landed in the LZ, set up our security perimeter. The helicopters left. We got in a line. We had the little Ranger eyes on the back of our caps. You know what those are? Probably not. 40-man platoon going through the triple canopy jungle of the old ancient forest of the Northwest. It was so damn dark, even though the moon was out, you couldn't see anything. I could see the Ranger eyes on the guy's hat in front of me, and that's how it went on down, but you couldn't see anything. I'm the compass guy, okay? I've got the map and the compass, and I've got my pace man in front of me, and I'm shoving him through the forest, okay? And we're just going by the compass. That's the only, because we can't see anything else. I mean, nothing. So, I've got some presence of mind, right? I'm using a compass to guide us on a bearing so that we get to our objective. But we can't see crap. There is no, this is long before GPS. GPS didn't come out for another 10 years, military GPS. At least not that I knew of. We certainly didn't use it there. So there was no way to look at the terrain and look at the topographical map and orient and move in that regard. It was totally by dead reckoning with that compass. We got to a road. We knew which road it was, but we weren't sure where we landed on it. Kind of a problem, right? So looking at it and looking at our pace, we kind of figured that the intersection that we're looking for is either a half a click to the right or half a click to the left. For those of you who don't know what a click is 1,000 meters, a kilometer. So half a click is 500 meters. Not that far, but it's not a walk across the street either. So my pace guy and I said, the pace guy goes to the left and sees if he can find the intersection that way, and I go to the right. Now, this was probably several hours into our mission. Like I said, it was a long-range reconnaissance patrol in officer training. Okay? The moon had now reached, the road that we were on was probably, that we intersected there, was probably, it's cut into the forest. It's probably, I'm going to guess maybe 20 meters across, something like that. Not very wide. That might even be too big, but something like that. Maybe 15 to 20 meters wide. Dirt road out in the middle of nowhere. However, this is a war games thing. And you don't want to get caught, and taken out of the game. But at any rate, so I'm going down the road. I go my 500 meters. The intersection's not there, so I figure it's not that way. I turn back and I'm probably headed south, I'm guessing, on this road. It's been many, many years, of course. But the road kind of falls off on either side, They build the road bed up, and so there's a little bit of a fall off onto the shoulders on the side. The moon is full, as I recall, and it's right above me. I'm almost looking into it. So I can actually see, unlike being in the triple canopy there where it's dark as all get out, I can actually see pretty well. It's not daylight, but I have good night vision at that time. And I could see almost as well as it was daylight with that moonlight that was coming off the moon. I heard this rumbling off on the left. And I thought, oh, great, here comes another platoon through the forest. I don't want them to see me, so I froze on the road to try to get a bearing as to exactly where it was. And before I could finish that thought, here it comes out on the road. First-hand witness, not a second-hand story. This thing probably, I'm guessing, is, and I'd show you if I could. All I can say is that it wasn't a bear. I mean, I've been an outdoorsman. I know what a bear looks like. This thing is walking like a man. It has a flat face, not a snout. It is hairy. And it's about, I might exaggerate here a little bit, but I'd put it at somewhere around 8 feet. maybe a little more. Because I was having to look up at it, and I was still probably 30 feet from it. It didn't see me at first. And I'm sitting there with my M16 with my blank adapter on it and blanks. And this thing comes out on the road, stops, realizes I'm there, turns and looks at me. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, I'm not talking, nothing. I'm saying, all I got are blanks. All I got are blanks. It watched me as it turned again and started to walk away, keeping its eyes on me until it went down on the other side and into the forest. True story. I ran faster than I've ever run before to go back. I was going to tell everybody about it. And then I realized I couldn't. Because there are people out there that are going to say, he believes in Bigfoot. No, I don't believe in Bigfoot. I know there's something out there, something like it. I've seen it with my own eyes, close. But the Smithsonian's not going to admit it. Matter of fact, they'll destroy every piece of evidence they can to suggest that the evolutionary theory that they have is correct. Because they want you to think that you're a monkey. So you want to do that? You want to disbelieve a first-hand eyewitness account? Go away on YouTube and go see somebody else. I'd love you to do that. I don't care anymore. Because with what's going on in D.C., we haven't got much time left unless Trump acts. And today. No more excuses. No more worries about politics. We're in a war, damn it. Next situation. Jordan Sather talks a lot about the space program and, extraterrestrials and all that. But I've already told you about what the NASA guy said, right? From Goddard Space Flight Center, the astrophysicist. So, this was about 4 years ago. They're probably watching me. I think they watch my program when I do this. I was at a friend's house. I'm not going to tell you where. It's out in the country. There are people around, but they're, like a mile away, maybe that kind of thing. And I'm inside, and I forget what I'm doing, but my friend calls me. He says, Roy, get out of here, get out of here. So I run outside, and my friend, he says, look at that. And to the west, right over the mountain that's not far from us, here's this object. And with the naked eye, it looked about the size of, a car. I'm looking across a car at, say, 200 meters away. That's how big it looked over the mountain. It's pretty good size. There are lights on it, and they traverse, across the object. And it's just sitting there. It's not moving. It's not coming toward us, going away, right or left. It's just sitting over this mountain. I went, holy cow. I went in and I grabbed my video camera. But it was just a low-grade, consumer-grade camera. It's not very good resolution in the lens. So it really didn't pick it up. It just didn't have the light gathering ability to do it. But as I'm looking through the lens, I can see this thing, and then all of a sudden, these little smaller craft, I don't know what they were, drones, smaller vessels, I don't know. But they came out of the bottom of this thing fast and shot back up like that. And we're taking off. And I'd say, my friend and I would probably say that there were probably half a dozen of those. And then the thing started moving, the larger craft started moving and just took off. Boom, gone. Not a minute later, here come Air Force fighter jets all over the place. All over the place. I was a police officer, I'm an Army officer, security professional. I have degrees. I'm not going to go through what they are. First-hand witness. I don't care if you believe it or not. I don't care. Because if you believe what's going on in D.C., you're a fool. If you believe what they tell you, you're a fool. I don't care who it is. I'm going to say it again. Trump needs to act, and he needs to do it now. Okay. I think Trump's intentions are good. Somebody's saying here Trump is a Zionist puppet. There's no doubt that the Zionists have a lot of power. I'm not. I don't think I'd go that far, and I've said that before. I look at this whole thing with Jerusalem, for instance, and the embassy there, as kind of like another thing altogether than most people do, and I could be wrong. And I'm a little concerned because I see things like not supporting his supporters, not speaking up for the First Amendment strongly enough, not getting rid of Sessions, not getting rid of Wray, not getting rid of Rosenstein, bowing down to Mueller investigation and the leftist Marxists and Hillary Clinton, and that's exactly what he's doing. Sorry, Republican friend, I've just had it. I'm done. Not done with Trump, but I'm done not calling it out. I've tried to have patience, but with this thing about, he's going to, is he really seriously going to have redacted information on these leaks, no. If he does that, he's going against Jim Jordan, Nunes, DeGeneva, Greg Jarrett, Judge Janine, Lou Dobbs, Sean Hannity, and his entire supportive base. He's going to turn his back on us because the institutions in the government that are so corrupt, we can't let the people lose trust in them. Or we're going to reveal sources and methods, which means nothing more than the crimes that they were involved in. Are we really going to stay in Afghanistan and protect the poppy trade and go after the minerals there and try to surround Russia into the underbelly? Is that what we're really going to do, Trump? Are you going to go along with the nutty people in the State Department that are saying that they don't believe that the false flags were actually false flags? They're not going to buy into that, and they're going to support the rebels who we supposedly are out to destroy, Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Are we going to backtrack on that again? Are we going to have our Air Force support Al-Qaeda? Have the American military and the American people been so lax about all this stuff that now, it's okay to support Al-Qaeda? Because you say so? Are we still going to support Sunni Arabs, Sunni Islamists killing innocent Christians, innocent people, under the guise that we're fighting terrorism? I started this channel. I'm not always going to be right, but I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass either. I'm going to call it the way I see it. You may not agree with it. That's fine. Amen. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to call it like I see it. I told you some things today. Man, I hope you people that have closed minds and don't think for yourselves or think that you're brilliant, I hope you go away if you can't accept an eyewitness testimony. Because I don't care. We're going down the tubes fast unless Trump's people find a way to counter this coup and this, which is really an attack on us American people. And I could go further than that, but that's what's happening. No more waffling. We got to move forward. You don't understand. There are people out there who do not understand the awful situation we're in. Yeah, there are a lot of good things happening. I'm not saying that there aren't. But unless we clean out our own house first, it's going to cave in on us. Dem Steril, who was asking about who 665 Fifth Avenue belongs to, Kushner. Jared Kushner. You know that, right? I don't have moderators, Gerald Williamson. He says Roy's moderators block you when you question him. I'll take a question from anybody. You're the asshole because, frankly, I don't have moderators and you know it. Do you see any wrenches on here? Do you? I ought to block you. That's what I mean, okay? That's the kind of crap. Trust the plan? Whose plan, Joe? Whose plan? Do you know the person that came up with this plan? Have you heard them talk? You've heard Trump say that he had a plan, right? His plan was to drain the swamp. His plan was to get out of Afghanistan. His plan was to go after ISIS. His plan was to build a wall. If that's the plan you're talking about, it's non-existent. There's nothing on the ground that's going that way. So even if we give it that much credit, it's not happening. You don't know who came up with this plan that you worship. You don't, Joe. It's a faceless anon. And you believe a faceless anon over people that know something and can tell you face to face, like Greg Jarrett, Joe DeGeneva. People who've been in the system and know about things. Fine. Go to hell, because that's where you're going with this. You're going down the hell road. Oh, Edelson James. Oh no, I understand. You say you believe me on the Bigfoot. Look, I whether people believe me or not, it doesn't matter. The point of the whole story, and I appreciate you saying that. The point of the whole story is, but you're going to believe people in the Smithsonian Institute that say that you're from a monkey. And I don't mean you, I mean people that poo-poo eyewitness testimony because it goes against the scientific community's religion, which is itself. That's the kind of problems that we're up against. It's the same people that are suppressing technology, life extension technology, the truth about space, the truth about who we are. They suppress it because if you knew who you are, if you know what your real origins are, you wouldn't put up with their bullshit and their lies. Just a fact. Just a fact. Yeah, Holly Knight. She says, we will never... Oh, I got to read that to you because it's really good. My thing jumps so fast here sometimes. I got to find Holly Knight again. I really liked what she said. Holly Knight. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, Holly. It jumps really fast. Basically, what you were saying... Oh, here we go. Holly Knight. We will never make America great again if we don't end the tyranny and sedition against our constitutional republic and the corruption inside the FBI, DOJ, DNC, and our government bureaucracies. Absolutely, 100%. 100%, Holly. Thanks for saying that. Okay, we've been going on for an hour and 10 minutes. This has been different. I've opened myself up again. I put out my kind of like my bio here a little while ago. And people get all upset about portions of that, but they'll go and screw any woman in the world they want to and then pretend like it didn't happen, never tell their spouse about it and lie to them. Or then you get the Christians that talk about, sex. Oh, woman's breasts are obscene. Yeah, right? That's not what God said. Yeah, you need to be modest, but that's not what God said. If we were really the puritanical, the pure people that you think you are, you'd be back in the Garden of Eden where God said, who told you thou wast naked? Because the man and the woman were naked and were not ashamed. And then when they fell, then they became ashamed. And God said, oh, who told you that you should be ashamed of yourselves? I'm not saying that there isn't modesty, but this destruction of the male and the female in our society can be laid right back to the foot of early Christianity and what happened at the Council of Nicaea. And it's a lie. It's how you destroy. It's a form of genocide. It's how you destroy a people. Okay. So, those of you who will come back next time I'm on, thank you. I'll be appreciative of that. We'll have another discussion. Oh, I could tell you many more stories. I'm not politically correct. I've seen a great many things I could tell you about people in the government that are just stinking rotten to the core from firsthand experience. Some of it I can't because it was classified. Yes, it was. But I can kind of beat around the bush and tell you a story so that, you'll get the idea without me actually saying it. I'm going to quote somebody here that a lot of people won't like, but I'm going to quote them. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's something like this. No one ever sinned by believing too much, only by believing too little. Because when you close your mind, you close your eyes and your ears and your heart. If you make a judgment based upon what somebody else has told you, and then use that information to denigrate somebody else based on those things, because it's not politically correct, it's not going along with the status quo, you've been fooled twice. And you fell for it twice. Mark Helm asked me, would you have shot if you had live ammo? No, I would not have. It was obviously an intelligent creature of some sort. Now, I would have defended myself, but no, I wouldn't have shot it. No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't today. If I was out there and I saw it again, I would hopefully I would have a camera with me this time. Yeah. But images today, I mean, look at what you can do with Photoshop now. Look what you can do with computer-generated imaging. It's like I've long said. It used to be that you believe nothing what you hear and half of what you see. Well, now, in today's society, you can't believe anything you see or hear. Not over electronic devices. And it's even getting to the point where, the blue, what do they call it? I forgot the name of it here. But the nanotech and then the blue screen, that blue imaging. You won't believe who this is. I got to answer this for just a second. I'm not going to say your name unless you want me to. You watching?
Yeah.
Are you in shock?
Well, I'm not in shock. It's like, dude, we've been whining about where the arrest since January.
Do you want me to tell everybody who you are and that you just called in?
No.
Okay.
All you got to do is just say like, when the hell are we gonna do a Teddy Dude, damn it?
Wait, I know. I agree. We got to do that, and I hope it's not in the too far distant future, my friend. I really do. This person is saying, where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, but I know it's.
You're gonna answer. I was just gonna leave a message, but you got your phone like right there, like it's your girlfriend or something.
Well, it's my source of information, and this just proves it, right? So that's all right.
Sorry to bother you.
You never do. You never do. I'd tell everybody who you are, but I won't. So I'll just let it go for now. We'll talk again later, okay? Hey, thanks a lot out here. Okay. Well, there's some things best left unsaid, right? I've already said enough today. All right. You can tell. I'm going to open up to you. I'm going to tell you what I've seen, what I know. Tesla was considered to be crazy, and then the FBI took everything he had. And we believed Edison and Bell and those people, and we have all these wires everywhere, which we probably didn't need, because that's how they control you. So if you want to make fun of people that are first-hand eyewitnesses and are willing to take the attacks to tell you what they know, then you deserve your enslavement. Okay. I've had enough today. I hope you have too. Probably more than you probably wanted. Yes, and I'm going to reiterate one other thing, because it's very, very true, and this is where we're going to end. Because good old Mike Cernovich and this lady who wrote this article is absolutely correct, and it is. make sure that when you're dating and have sex that you're sober. I guess I'll just put it that way. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, this one was a little different for a lot of reasons. But if I tell you the things I told you today, you know I'm going to tell you up front the best that I know, even if you slam me for it, because I don't care. Do you understand? The ignorant and self-righteous and those who think that they know everything, I know they're not going to go along with anything that goes against their grain. They don't have the courage to look beyond their nose. They don't have the courage to deny that the system, the status quo, lies to them daily, even by the minute. I'm done with it. I will tell you the truth as best I can, with my limited resources, with my experience, with my training, with my education. I will do it the best I can. If you don't like it, you're not being told to stay here. I don't have a chain around your neck. I don't have a ball and chain on your ankle. Your ball and chain is in your mind to believe the system that has lied to you from the day you were born. Thanks for coming. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. And yes, as always, prep, pray, stay out of the way. God bless you. God bless yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. And God bless Donald Trump and all of his righteous endeavors. That the Lord will give him the spirit of discernment that will distill upon him as the dews from heaven, even a cloudburst. And that he will know the difference between right or wrong and do the right thing despite all opposition. Yes, you have to be wise. There's a scripture that says, wisdom is justified of her children. Go look at that, President Trump. Go look at that. Ponder it. So, we'll see you next time. If you dare come back, because there's more coming. Out of here for now.